Well, hello there, and welcome back to Sibling Circle. And joining me as usual are my lovely siblings, my sisters, Kenya, Tasanji, and Shaipu, and as well as our baby brother, Kasim. We're going to dive right on in and talk about the BOBs.
So welcome. I want to go ahead and explain how to find us at Need Transportation LLC. Now, Needs Transportation is currently operating in Indiana, and if you Google us, you will find here that you can put in Needs Transportation, or if you are not within the Indiana area, you can put in Needs Transportation Indiana, and we do provide freight services. And you are needing our services, then you can choose this one, which will take us straight to our website. So Google us. It'll take you straight to our website here. And here we are. You will find our information here, need transportation, and then depending on what it is that you need that we may be able to provide, you want to go ahead and contact us. And if you just want to find out about our services, let us know how we can help you. Provide your name, your email address, as well as a phone number. Agree to those terms and conditions, folks. Now, let's say you already know, you're ready. You know what you need done, and you need services right now. We provide expedient delivery services, zip code-based deliveries, and, of course, trucking services. And yes, CDL certified. And then you're going to basically you choose your delivery time. You have the option of 60 minutes, 2 hours, and same day. And again, based on these options you choose, we'll let you know if we are able to accommodate you. We know it's a need, so we're looking to provide you at Needs Transportation. Another thing you can do also under these services is you can choose zip code-based deliveries, okay? Now, under zip code-based deliveries, basically you would want to hit continue, and it's going to further take you to our inquiry form where you can fill out this form with your information, again, telling us about your needs, and you can give us a call at 1-888-501-1920. Yep. Or feel free to send us an email at needtransportationllc@gmail.com.
or me or whatever, but
Next is our businesses that my siblings also run, and I'm going to let them take it away. Kasim and then Tasanji, speak on it.
yeah, Barry, your mic is off for one thing too, but I'm going to go jump into American Solar Wind. I've talked about it a few times. American Solar Wind is a national company that we do engineering. We do solar panels usually in Texas, Louisiana, and Oklahoma. All kind of different solar options, design wise and installation wise. American Solar Wind is a company I have, and it's a big company. We're growing fast, and we're trying to do some good work. Also, I wanted to discuss Blackwood Homes, which is a home building company. I haven't discussed it before, but I do residential architectural work for home buyers. It's been running for about 8 or 9 years at this point. I've done lots of houses all over Texas. So I'm more interested in helping people with achieving their dream in a functional and efficient manner. and being able to build a home and grow your family that way. And lastly,
Kasim, so Blackwood Homes, you said you've been doing this for 8 years. What exactly services do you offer?
basically architectural services. So renovation, development, and design services for new residential homes, also for commercial properties. We've been doing a little commercial properties in the last 2 years since the pandemic. Started up doing any kind of commercial properties as well. So full architectural services and development services for any project you have, because we can either help you find the proper services or do it ourselves if it's a local project here in Dallas. And the other thing that I wanted to mention before is that we're also, as a group, as a sibling circle, we got a booth at the FBA convention here in Dallas, and that's coming up the 27th of this month, Saturday the 27th. That should be a really big event. We're going to be there live. We're going to hope to try to broadcast the show live that day and get some information and footage from that. And we're going to promote all our business there, talk to some people who are of the same kind of mindset as us with, trying to advance our people nationally. So it's FBA convention in Dallas, Texas, May 27th.
Absolutely. Yes. Thank you. Yes. Come out, see us, talk with us. We'd really like to have you.
Yep.
Okay. So the first part of our sibling circle segment, we want to talk about education. Now, I done some research recently, and it was talking about how high schoolers. Okay. So the first part of our sibling circle segment, we want to talk about education. Now, I done some research recently, and it was talking about how high schoolers are completing their education and then going on to colleges, whether that's 2-year or 4-year programs. And it was saying that basically the percentage of high schoolers doing this was going up substantially every year from 2010 to 2020. Okay. And it was saying that basically that from 2019, 66.2% of Blacks or African Americans were going to these colleges.
Okay.
That went down in 2020 to only 50.7%. But then in 2021, after the pandemic kind of died back down, it went back up to a 61.8% that Black or African Americans were seeking to have 4-year or 2-year degrees. Do you think that's a road to success and economic wealth, or just debt?
It's a double-edged sword. It really brings to me some security, that you can function in society and have a good job, but it doesn't bring wealth at all. I think the opportunity that you have as a young person to achieve wealth is the same time frame as you would be in college. College kind of preparing you to be a good worker and make a good living maybe as a worker. But if you can apply that same information and time and education to a business in that same 4 to 5 year span, you'll probably outdo any college student if you have a solid business plan and you run it for 4 or 5 years. You're going to have a better real working knowledge of a business in that same time frame. So it's a double-edged sword. You have to really assess your child. You have to really assess yourself and really determine what path works the best for you, or do a hybrid kind of both paths. So that's what I think.
Mm-hmm.
I somewhat agree with Kasim. I really think it depends on the person. A lot of our a lot of what you see nowadays are people having the initiative or the hustle to not potentially go to school and start certain businesses on their own, but then what they lack is understanding how to run a business or the certain criteria that you could possibly get from even maybe even having an associate's degree in business, um, or even the connections of those that are in business or understand different parts of business to help you get to where you need to be. Again, it's going to rely on the child and the parents' assistance and the child's initiative. But that's college isn't for everybody. And I hear that more and more nowadays, but that doesn't mean to me that just because your child's not wanting to go to college, that it is not something that wouldn't be beneficial to them if they did. If they don't have an initiative to do anything, then I don't know. Like I tell my daughter who is kind of going back and forth from wanting to go to college or not wanting to go to college. I always tell her that, well, first off, you have to have a plan B. She already has an idea of what she wants to do for her career. But the other side of that is I explained to her that college gave me the opportunity to not have to instantly be in the real mature world. It gave me 4 more years to work towards that additional development and getting me mentally where I needed to be. I mean, I was still on my own and still had to pay for my own stuff, but it still allowed me more time to mature.
Okay. Now, sis, you got one in college right now.
Yes. Whew, this is a hard one. Okay. But I think I'm always going to be in favor of getting the education if you can. Um, but you brought a good point that's kind of weighing on me, right? The the degree, or do you, I mean, is the degree really worth something to you if what you have a degree in will never pay you enough money to be able to live and pay off the debt from school, right?
Yeah.
So, because you have to, I mean, people invest in something to get a return. And if you think about higher education in that sense, and it's investment, right? It's an investment. So you you're better off if you are very focused about it in what you long term, not just getting a degree, but what you want to do with that degree, because then you can do all the research to make sure that you can also live the lifestyle you want to live in jobs that are typical for that degree. And so I think that's the hard part, right? We send a lot of people to college straight from high school, and depending on their upbringing, they may have not had a lot of preparation for the real world, for having to make your own choices about what you do with your career, how much, and ultimately, you will need the income to take care of yourself. So the ultimate goal is get your kids to that point where they're taking care of themselves. But if they haven't been taught anything before they get to college, they may not even know to think through, hey, beyond, I just happen to like, oh, let me be a psychologist, without thinking about the fact that you have to have the advance, you have to have the PhD to really make any money in psychology and all of these things, right? So you may not be thinking through, you're just thinking through, oh, I want this. And then you have a 4-year degree in psychology, which is virtually useless. Psychology, you need a PhD, right? So, and you've got all this debt, and you really can't immediately do anything with that degree. So if you don't want to go forward and get your PhD, now you're stuck with a degree and the debt from that degree, and you cannot use that to get a job. Nobody's hiring a 4-year psychologist. So I think it's a hard one, because I want our kids to go that route, but not at the cost of that they um, end up just in debt, as you said. And that's the part that keeps weighing on me. So
I know for myself, one of my goals, as you mentioned, I have a child in college right now. My oldest is just completing his freshman year. We got to pick him up this coming weekend.
Very cool.
Move him out of his dorm, right? So 1 year down, right? And it went by real fast. Like, I'm like, wait a minute, what?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
But one of my goals as a parent was to be able to send him to college and have him have the same kind of experiences that the kids he's grown up going to school had. And let's face it, we've all sent our children to these privileged schools, right? These kids with middle class parents, and they're more privileged, right? So our kids really haven't been exposed to some of the things we were exposed to growing up, right? They've lived a very nice life, and that's great. That's our goal as a parent. But that in some ways could hinder them if they aren't really prepared for the things that they will need to do on their own, because up to this point, they've got everything they have because we provided it, right? We gave it to them because we wanted them to have it, basically, as parents. But if they've never had some of the challenges we all had in order to be very focused on where we wanted to go, they may not know what to do. And then they really are going in there wasting your money.
Yeah.
So I had to have a lot of hard conversations with JT about not only choosing schools, and the fact that, some schools are, very, very, very expensive. And you have to ask, is it going to pay out for you to go to that school? Like, what are you going to get out of it that's different than just going to the state school? So we had a hard conversation, because I was like, look, this is what I can afford, right? So we don't have the ultimate list, because you didn't apply yourself and get out, be one of these kids that graduates with 26 scholarships from all the Ivies and 26 goes, you didn't get not offered one scholarship. So now we got to pay for it. And if we have to pay for it, I am not paying for a waste. So I kind of was pushy about that. I'm like, if you want me to pay for it, you're going to have to listen to what I think is a good idea. And I don't think arts degrees in general are good ideas. Right now, there's a reason you've been hearing in the background for at least the past 15 years, right? STEM, because we're going to this very technologically driven. We've already been there, right? We're there for a while now,
right?
Gen Z, that's all they know, right? So we're this very technologically driven society, and you need STEM degrees for that. You need STEM degrees to keep that growing and to keep that pushing, right? Mm-hmm. How many jobs do you know that pay well in STEM careers that don't require a degree? That's one. The other piece is you can push them to the stuff that feels good, but are they going to get out and ever be able to enjoy that because they're paying off school debt and they don't make enough money to even support themselves? So you just got to have realistic conversations. I guess I went on and on about it, but I feel pretty strongly that you have to have set expectations and have realistic conversations with your children about because at the end of the day, it's an investment. Right. So is your investment, look at it like any other investment, is your investment going to pay out? Mm-hmm. And what might the possible dividends be, right? But if you don't look at it from that way and you just go with, oh, I want to do this or I love that, you could end up with just the debt and no benefit from college education.
What did JT go to school for? What is he in school for currently? Has he made a decision at all?
He's a biology major.
He's a biology major. Okay. And the only reason why I asked that is because I've had the same similar experience with my daughter. My daughter, Kashari is not in school currently. So she then did 3 years and then quit, or 2.5 years and quit. And the stress about COVID, the stress about other things and not being in school and virtual school, it had a decent effect on her. So it made her decide that it wasn't the right path for her. And we had already spent 2.5 years of money, right? I mean? So let me just flat out, I'm gonna change my perspective just right now. I think you can accomplish something in 4 years business-wise if you're the right type of hustler. That's way better than any college you can go to. If you do a simple job and it's your business and you manage it in a certain way, it's always going to be more lucrative than going to college. But college is a security factor. So the security of going to school because somebody else can see value in your work. College is to show other people value in your work so that an entrepreneur can make a decision to hire you instead of you having to be the entrepreneur out there hustling for yourself. And that's really the only difference. But that same 4 or 5 years, 6, 8 years, if you're going for a doctorate or a master's or whatever, that same time always can be much better spent on your own if you're that type of person to apply yourself. Okay. So that's definitely my view on it. You have to be able to apply yourself, but it's better to be on your own if you can apply yourself. College is a crutch, but some people need that crutch. Shit, I needed the crutch. It seemed like all of us needed the crutch. So it is what it is. You know what I'm saying? It is what it is.
So, I mean,
it's just debt. I mean, I think you have to invest in yourself. And I feel like college is, really your first experience with investing in yourself. Sometimes you don't know what your direction should be or what you want to do or what you like. And I think that college exposes you to that. So it's important for some people. But there are people who can do it on their own. I kind of heard the tail bit of the last end of what Kasim said. And there are some people who it's not necessary for them because they can invest in themselves and achieve the same or even better outcome without going that route. So I just think it's subjective to the person. There are people who are in high school that already know what they want to do, who have already started businesses, and so college may not be the direction they need to go in. They don't need to invest 40 grand or however much, whatever the price is at whatever schools to get what they need to move forward. They can just take a few classes. You know what I'm saying? They don't need that whole experience. So I don't think it's absolutely necessary, but it really is just dependent on the individual.
I agree with that. Let me tag on a little something on that. I think it almost would be better if we focused only on financial literacy for kids, and then plus mentorship all through their life. So if as a parent, which I haven't done myself, but I should have done, maybe I can help with my grandkids whenever I have that. But finding mentors, finding people who already do what your kids are interested in, every time they have a little fleeting interest, because kids have all kind of different interests, they change all the time. We need to be hyper focused on finding a mentor for them to learn from, because like Kai came to my job. She had a whole week there. She looked at interior design. Now she should have a real basis if she's really willing to do it or not. You know what I mean? Because she knows it's real work. If she's willing to do it, she might do it. If she's not willing to do it, then she ain't gonna do it. You know what I mean? But multiple types of mentors, and maybe they'll latch onto it, because I perfectly understand. I know for sure there's one reason why I became an architect, because we're gonna be blunt on this. We know Pop's issues. He was in Narcotics Anonymous. He had a same kind of Narcotics Anonymous, old drug user friend. Really, like I said, I could see the difference with a family who actually had the same issues we had, literally had the same issues. I could see a difference because they had money. Simple as that.
Okay, and so now, with education, does that actually breed money? You were saying that, yes, okay, you honed in something that, say that again?
It breeds security. It don't breed money. It breeds security. I'm pretty secure, but I would need to have my own practice, my own firm. I'd have all this to be rich or to be wealthy, but it breeds security. Education does breed security. So, there's a value in that.
Okay, wait a minute. I see something on Shaipu's face. Shaipu, you beg to differ?
I do. I think it depends. There are some degreed programs that, unless you know the right people or have the right connections, whether you have your degree in that or not, it's not going to mean much if your plan is not to work for yourself, if your plan is to work for other companies. Those are a lot of them are in the artistic realm, and if you don't know how to get in where you fit in or know where you need to be, those are difficult levels to get into, whether you have your degree or not.
I think that's what Kenya hinted on already. Like
She did.
Yeah, so I agree with that. I'm not saying I agree. I think we get education and college conflated. They're not conflated. Education is always a good security. College is not. So we're conflating education and college. I don't think they're the same at all. You know
So
what I mean?
Let's just keep it real here. Education, traditional education in general, is bullshit. So even elementary school, I mean, it's important because you learn the basics, reading and writing and all that stuff. But once kids get a little older and some of the things that they're learning, it is a waste of fucking time. You will never use those things again in your life. The whole educational system that whomever has designed is bullshit. Like, things need to be very specific. I think that we do need to spend time educating our children ourselves, or like Kasim said, putting them around people who do what they want to do, where it's very specific, because it's a racket, you know. I mean, once you get to college, some of those classes, why are you taking some of that stuff? For what reason? You know what I'm saying? What are you using? What are you using after the fact? You know, so unless you're going to be a doctor or something, and even some of the things that they're taking, courses that they're taking, you know, it's a waste of time. You know, there are probably people who can become doctors in shorter amounts of time if they didn't spend half the time taking all these bullshit courses that amount to nothing for them. You know, and I think that society is understanding that, and things are changing slightly. That's why there's accelerated programs, or programs that give you work related credit towards a degree, because it's a bunch of bullshit. You know what I'm saying?
I can see that.
Yeah, it is. It is. Let me say one other thing too. I also think it might be a deterrent to some people too. You know, there are some people who are extremely talented in something, and the traditional ways of achieving a degree or being educated is a hindrance for them to be able to do that, because they may not excel in some of the other things that are in front of them, or even have an interest in it, but this person's extremely talented. Like, I mean, does that make sense? There's someone who could possibly be an architect and understands all the mechanics around it and all of these different things, but they got to take all these different classes in college before they get to that point, and they just may not be good at that stuff. And it's a deterrent for them, because they have to take some kind of English or whatever it may be, and they're not good at that stuff, and they don't want to do it. But they can design something absolutely amazing, you know, without even having to go through any of those prerequisite courses or anything. And so I feel like somewhat it's a deterrent.
I can see that.
I feel like if that's what we're going to change, if we're going to change something in the world, let's change how people are able to establish a career, you know, because making college a stipulation for everything, to me, is it's outdated. It is very.
You said outdated. It's a racket. You said it's a racket because they make money off of it. So that's the purpose. You know, that's why the course structures have a bunch of courses that you really don't need to effectively do your job as a real individual. And that's a whole different thing. But the curriculums have changed. I got one thing that's a practical thing. When you mentioned elementary school, it made me think of, you know, they don't teach cursive in elementary school anymore.
No, they don't.
They barely teach handwriting. So that's a clear thing that we know. We saw it start. We saw it get outdated. Because our parents didn't get cursive when they was kids either. They just wrote normal. Cursive came and went in our lifetime. It came and went. The whole thing came and went in our lifetime. You know what I mean? Which is not that damn long. You know. So things are very interesting. That there's things that are implemented for, there is not a purpose for, there is no real tangible use for that,
Right.
you know.
Right.
Well,
Because
actually, I know that for a fact that, you know, of course, things have changed when we talk about education.
Yeah.
When mom was young, you know, they taught about mythology, you know, Aesop fables. Greek mythology was something that they actually taught in school. When I was in school, you know, you actually was taught that there were, you know, 7 continents and 5 oceans and, you know, Pluto, you know, and Uranus and all that.
Pluto's a good one too. Pluto's a
So,
good one.
again, you know,
It changes.
concept of
Why
education.
Pluto's not real?
No, apparently not. It's called the
Well,
Kuiper Belt. It's called the Kuiper Belt now, and it's a bunch of little things out there, way out,
Wow.
just like
It
it's
stopped being a
Pluto got
planet years ago.
yeah, years
Oh
ago.
my God, I
Years
just
ago.
learned this today.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
that's
I
what I'm
literally would have
saying,
been somewhere saying, well, on a survey question or whatever, I would have named Pluto as one of the planets.
Nope.
And
That's
you got it
messed up.
wrong today.
Maybe it went away. Maybe it went away then. If it
But
was
No,
there.
that's
no.
the
Just
concept
like
of why education is
It got
changing
delisted.
it got delisted as a planet. It's not a planet anymore because there's a bunch of rocks out there. It's a big ass rock, but it's a bunch of rocks out there. That's it's a belt, like the belt here between Mars and
Yeah.
whatever Uranus.
like Orion's
It's a belt. Yeah, it's a whole belt, you know, of rocks out there. But it is
Very
what it is,
interesting.
you know. And that could all be a lie too, because we don't know none of that stuff. We just
'Cause
listen
we
to what
ain't
they
never
say.
been there. Because
We
we
ain't
ain't
never
never
going
been
on.
there.
That could all be a lie too, but you know what I
It
mean?
sure could.
and so like you say, education is, you know, basically the story
Research.
or the narrative that wants to be told at that time. We do math differently now.
Yeah.
So it is a concept where our children do
is.
need to be knowledgeable, but at the same time, you know, we need to
Yeah.
harbor in and basically make sure that we're honing in their natural talents, which will
Yeah. The only thing that is, I see things happening in schools slowly, where it is becoming more career focused versus traditional education. But where I'm not seeing it is in college. And I know the reason why is because it's about money. And I think that that's some bull. Okay. Because I think people would be more apt to invest in themselves if they look at it that way. Like, I think you don't think about college as investing in yourself when you're a kid. You know what I'm saying? When you're 18, 19, 20, you're not thinking about that.
Yeah.
But I do see 18, 19, and 20-year-olds who are taking courses like, oh, I'm going to take this course so I can learn how to French braid. I'm going to take this course so I can learn how to sell on eBay or become a TikTok, whatever, you know what I'm saying? All this other kind of stuff. People will invest in themselves if they see the monetary value in it. And college does not, I mean, it's kind of like a club that if you can do it, you know, you think this is something you're supposed to do, but you're freaking clueless about what it's supposed to amount to. And you're investing in all these things, but you're not really selecting what you're investing in because someone tells you you have to do all of these things before you can get to where you want to get. And a lot of times people get out of college and are clueless and they're still like, oh my God, now what? You know?
A lot of us from our generation are like that. A lot.
Yeah.
I mean, I know a lot of men and women who don't do nothing with their degree, never touched it, never did nothing with it. It don't work for them. So we are definitely brainwashed on that. At least our generation is definitely brainwashed.
Yeah.
I think our kids
I
are a little bit less.
I feel like college needs to change where you can pick out what you want to, you know, really look at what it is that you want to do and pay for those things. And I think it wouldn't just be something that young people would consider. I mean, probably a lot more young people would consider doing it, but people in their middle ages of their life, people in, you know, 70 years old, you know, because I feel like in understanding it in a way of it as investing in yourself and you getting specifically what you need out of it and you can take it and apply it. I think that that's what it should be. It shouldn't, I mean, I mean, when I hire people or whatever, you know, and in my mindset, I'm like, okay, well, this person needs to have a degree. But I'm telling you, a lot of the people who I've hired with a degree don't know shit. I'd I'd rather have someone who I know has the level of intelligence that I need for this position, and I will send them to take an accounting course or whatever it may be so that they can do the job.
Mhm.
You know, I feel like that can be taught
I
versus
think it can
them
be taught
getting
too.
a 4-year degree.
Okay.
True, but I think the college is for employers to realize this person has a capacity and a willingness to learn and to listen. Maybe listen even more, because you get that person who didn't do nothing and you give them a little certificate, you pay for their certificate. Next week they got their own business because they ain't loyal at all. You know, it's a different mindset for somebody who's going to do it on their own, or do it without the college road tells you, hey, this person is dedicated, they can follow rules, they can listen to what I need them to do, and that makes them more of a worthy type employee, which is security, which turns into security. Because if I'm worthy to work here, I can be worthy to work at another firm, I can be worthy to work somewhere else. So it gives you a little bit of security. And
So college or university is for us to be a good employee.
That's my opinion. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I agree with that. I actually agree with that. I do agree. I do believe that college prepares you to be a good employee.
Okay.
It does.
All right.
I think the main things that you need to be a good entrepreneur, you either you part of it is in you. Otherwise, you wouldn't be the type of person that would pursue entrepreneurship. So part of that is just in you, like it's you. And then the other part is your willingness to seek out the information you need for what you want to do, right? So it's both parts of it to me. And I think that that's actually something college can't even teach you. So let's think about
why do you think college prepares you to be a good employee? Because I know lots of people who go to college that are horrible employees.
I got an answer for that if you're okay with it, because Kenya, I see you about to say something.
I don't have an answer. That's okay.
Okay, I got a great answer for that, because an employee does not need to be good. You have to have a culture as an employee. So you need some good people, you need some mediocre people, you need some people who just make the environment good. As a corporation, you don't want everybody good. You want a few good people to make sure everybody below them does their job. And you need people who can just do their job. You don't want everybody to be good, because if everybody's good, you're going to get undermined as the CEO or entrepreneur or whatever. You're going to be undermined all day. And that's not how business works in America at all. So that's the reason why you don't need good, you need dedication. You need security.
So college allows you to have dedicated people, and a dedicated person is what you consider a good employee.
Absolutely. Way better than being good. Way better than being a good. The smartest employee is not the most dedicated, usually.
Yeah, I can agree to disagree. I agree with some components and none, and some I don't. But okay, we can move on.
Okay. Well, with that said, you know, this education is that whatever facet we get into, is it really breeding economic growth and wealth within our communities?